All right, so for most of us, I would say here in the United States, winter is definitely here for most of us. And so what I have here today is going to be a top 10 list of some of my strongest performing, wintertime fragrances that I have in my collection. All 10 of these fragrances are going to be the types of fragrances that are they're going to last over 8+ hours. And they do have really sort of heavy projection as well. Normally at least for like the first 2 to 3 hours or so. So just to get the list started, I'm going to start off with Barouge Perlador. And this is going to be Barouge's take on Parfums de Marly's Carlisle. So it is a very good interpretation of Carlisle. What I'll say is it doesn't come off as smooth as what Carlisle does, but definitely strength-wise, this is going to be much stronger than what Carlisle is. I think, the last time that I kind of wore this side by side with Carlisle, it was like at least probably double the strength of what Carlisle was. Again, it just doesn't have that extra sort of refinement that Carlisle has. So, at least, when you're smelling the two fragrances up close, Carlisle is going to smell a little bit better. But this overall, I would say, is probably one of the best interpretations of Carlisle that are out there for sure. So if you like that, that smell of Parfums de Marly's Carlisle, which it does smell like a tobacco scent, even though it doesn't actually have any sort of tobacco listed, but it's just a really kind of earthy, sort of tobacco sort of vibe that you get from the fragrance. Along with a lot of patchouli as well. It does have a sort of smoky aspect to it. Kind of almost smells like, a cigar or something like that. So if you're into that type of vibe, then I would absolutely recommend Barouge Perlador. This is going to last you at least about 8 to 10 hours or so with pretty heavy projection for at least about the first 2.5 to 3 hours. So again, Barouge Perlador. Next one on the list, this is I would say one of my favorite sort of interpretations of the Baby Cat scent profile. This one is from Paris Corner, and this is Rifaaqat from Paris Corner. So I've had this one quite a while now, and this is just basically, it's like vanilla mixed with incense, olibanum. It's just a really sort of smoky, but yet at the same time sweet type of, vanillic type of scent. I really do like the way that the vanilla is done in this. It does come off as being a little bit sweeter, especially in the dry down, than what the original Baby Cat does. But overall, man, I would say this is about 85% or so close to YSL's Baby Cat. I do think that the Alexandria version is a little, definitely a lot closer than what this is. I do know that Maison Alhambra, they do have like a version of this fragrance out as well, or of, this scent profile. I do have that on the way. I believe it's called like Ebony or Ebony, something like that. I can't remember what the name is, but I'll be doing a side-by-side comparison between, that Rifaaqat as well as Alexandria's Tomcat, to just kind of let you all know which one, does smell the best. And I'll be comparing those to the original from YSL as well. But yeah, man, if you're into the YSL Baby Cat scent profile and you're looking for a very cheap but really high quality smelling and really long lasting version of it, then definitely I would recommend Rifaaqat from Paris Corner. Next one, this is going to be the best Middle Eastern fragrance house interpretation of Angel Share that I've smelled. And this is going to be French Avenue's Royal Blend. So I've smelled a few different, interpretations of Angel Share from different fragrance houses. And this one to me, like I said, has been the best that I've smelled. It is like extremely accurate when it comes to comparing this to the original Angel Share. And the sort of added bonus that you get with this is this does project a little bit stronger than what Angel Share does. And the longevity is also very good. But I would say in terms of the projection, It's a noticeable difference between this and Angel Share, especially, you know, once you kind of get into the far sort of dry down. This just is overall stronger than what Angel Share is. And this is just basically, it's cognac with apple cinnamon vibes, you know, aged sort of oak barrel as well. It's just a really, really amazing smelling fragrance. It's a fragrance that I don't necessarily enjoy smelling it like up close, but when you're wearing it or if you smell it on someone else, this scent profile just in general really smells amazing. And like I said, this is definitely the closest that I've smelled to the original from, you know, the sort of Middle Eastern inspiration houses. So I know this one right now, every time that I check for it, because I've actually been looking to, you know, gift this to other people. Right now, it does seem to be kind of sold out everywhere except for eBay. And on eBay, it's going for like ridiculous prices, like $90+ and stuff like that. So I wouldn't pay that much for it. I mean, I only paid $30 for this 100 ml bottle. So, you know, I think anywhere between that $30 to $45 mark or so would be about the most that I would pay for this. But this is overall an amazing interpretation of Angel Share. I absolutely recommend it. And performance wise, this easily lasts on me over 10+ hours, and projection is really, really good for at least about the first 2.5 hours or so. So definitely check out Royal Blend from French Avenue. Next one, this one is kind of like a classic in my collection, man. This is one of the oldest fragrances that I still have in my collection right now anyway. And this one is from Toffee. This is Azzure Aoud Amethyst. So this is just a really, really strong, but really sort of sweet, candied, kind of jammy rose that you get. There is also some oud kind of like in the backdrop of this fragrance as well. I believe I also kind of pick up on sort of like kind of like a lavender sort of note in this as well. I don't know the exact sort of note breakdown on this fragrance, but it's a really, really amazing rose fragrance. I do think that you do kind of have to be someone who is a little bit more experienced when it comes to fragrances, because when you first spray this, especially if you're someone who's not really used to rose fragrances, you may not like this one. But if you are a fan of rose fragrances, this does really smell amazing, and it doesn't smell like feminine in any sort of way, at least to me anyway. You know, I think, as a matter of fact, I think most of the time when I see people who have this particular fragrance in their collection, I believe normally a lot of times it is men. But I do think that this is a kind of straight down the middle unisex type of rose scent for sure. So again, this one is super nuclear. It's going to project well over 3 hours, and the longevity on it is well over 12 for sure. So if you're looking for like a really sort of beast mode, you know, long lasting, really kind of punch you in the face sort of, you know, rose fragrance, Azzure Aoud Amethyst from Toffee is definitely one to pick up. So check out Azzure Aoud Amethyst. Next one on the list, this one is another one from French Avenue. This is, I would say, probably one of my favorite vanilla scents that, you know, I've either smelled or have in my collection. And this one is Liquid Brun from French Avenue. So this is going to be their take on Parfums de Marly's, what is it, Altair. Very, very close to Altair, just really some, I would say, some kind of slight differences in the opening of the fragrance. After that, it's very hard to tell the difference between this and Altair, at least for me anyway. And this really does perform very good as well. So it's gonna give you like a really sort of unisex, in my opinion, really unisex, but slightly maybe masculine leaning take on a vanilla scent. You know, vanilla, orange blossom, just really, really nicely done with this fragrance. And it does have a slightly sort of spicy edge to it as well. which I think that's, you know, that's kind of what makes this a sort of masculine leaning, you know, sort of unisex vanilla type of scent. Vanilla can definitely, you know, go in the feminine sort of direction, but I do think that this one does lean slightly masculine, and it is definitely a good choice for this time of the year. I do think it is, you know, fresh enough for you to wear outside of the winter time, but definitely I think right now is probably one of the best times that you can wear a fragrance like this. The performance on it is also very good as well. It is going to give you really good projection for over 2 hours. And then, at least for me anyway, this does last well over 10 to 12 hours. So definitely this is a good value for sure, man, when it comes to comparing it to Altair. Altair, that one is normally going to run you probably over $300, maybe around this time of the year where different people are having holiday sales. You may be able to get that one for under 300 for, you know, a 120 ml bottle. But for the most part, most people are going to be selling that one for over $300. So this one is at least about 95% close, you know, or more. And it's like what, between, I believe, 40 and at the most maybe $60 for this 100 ml bottle. So this is just a really amazing interpretation. Definitely one of the best from French Avenue for sure that they've released this year. And again, this one is Liquid Brun from French Avenue. Next one on the list, this one is from Al Haramain. This is another really, really incredible rose fragrance. This one is Al Haramain's Azzure Aoud Dubai Night. This is their take on Arabian's Tonka from Montal. That fragrance is just basically, it's a really sort of jammy rose mixed with oud, mixed with, you know, some other sort of sweeter notes as well. I believe like sugar is actually one of the notes in that particular fragrance as well. You do obviously also have notes like tonka bean. So it is a very sort of sweet fragrance. But what I do like about this version, Al Haramain's take on it, is they kind of freshen the scent profile up a little bit. So they definitely have made this one a little bit more sort of versatile. In my opinion, you know, just overall a little bit more sort of wearable to most people anyway. And it doesn't come across as sort of cloying as what the Arabian's Tonka does. Now, I still do enjoy the way that Arabian's Tonka smells, but I think with the added sort of freshness that they have in here, which I believe comes from bergamot, it just overall, it makes the fragrance smell just slightly better, at least to me anyway. Also, I mean, even though this one is going to be slightly on the fresher or more kind of aromatic side, it doesn't mean that this fragrance is weaker than Arabian's Tonka in any sort of way. This is still going to be very sort of beast mode, nuclear type of scent. So, you know, it is going to be one of those scents that is going to punch people in the face, get you noticed, you know, and one that you do kind of still have to be cognizant of how many times you spray this. I'm not a part of the 14 spray minimum crew or whatever. So like, I would never do that with this fragrance. Obviously there are some people who would, more power to you, but at least for me, I feel like anywhere between 4 and 5 sprays is really all I need with this one. And, you know, that's going to get you well over 3 hours of projection and well over 12 hours of total longevity. So definitely, man, check out Al Haramain's Azzure Aoud Dubai Night. All right, another really good one from French Avenue. This one is Azzure Aoud, and this is their take on Mason Crivelli's Oud Maracuja. This again is another really, really good value for the price. Now, obviously the Mason Crivelli, it is going to smell a little bit better than what this does, but I mean, not really by that much. You know, it definitely, in the opening where you get that sort of passion fruit note, you know, that really sort of, I know a lot of people kind of say it smells like rotten fruit. I don't necessarily get that. I mean, I guess maybe kind of like slightly over-ripened, but it does still give off a really nice freshness to the fragrance. And you definitely you get a higher quality smell in the Mason Crivelli than what you do with this one. But I feel like that really is something that only kind of lasts for like the first few minutes of the two fragrances. And then after that, I mean, there are still some slight kind of differences, but overall, this is still going to be 90+%, you know, close to the original from Mason Crivelli. And the Mason Crivelli is like considerably more than what this fragrance is. I know the normal bottle size for the Oud Maracuja is normally like a 50 ml. And I believe normally that goes for, I don't know, it's like either 330 or 360, something like that. Like it's a really, really expensive fragrance. Whereas with this one, this is going to give you 100 ml, and this goes for anywhere from about $40 to $60, just depending on where you get it from. And again, it's at least 90 to 95% close, at least to me anyway, to Oud Maracuja. So, you know, if you are into that really kind of, you know, fresh sort of passion fruit opening, but then, you know, after that, pretty much you get like a really sort of leathery, smoky, you know, kind of like oud and leather sort of, you know, mixture in the dry down. Believe there may also be like some rose in this as well. This is just overall, it's a very kind of mature, sort of acquired sort of taste type of fragrance, you could say. But it is actually one that I enjoy, and I'm not typically one to enjoy those kind of oud, rose, or leathery types of scents. But I do actually enjoy the way that this one smells a lot. So I absolutely recommend Azzure Aoud. It is going to give you very good, you know, longevity, at least over 10 hours. Projection is going to be really strong for at least about the first 2.5 hours. Not as good as the Mason Crivelli, but again, this is just a fraction of the cost. And again, this one is Azzure Aoud from French Avenue. Next one is from Swiss Arabian. This one is one of the newest releases, and it's Vanilla Toffee from Swiss Arabian. So this is going to be a very sort of sweet, gourmand, you know, type of scent for sure. But I really do like the way that this one is done, man. It definitely, it has a lot of things going on in it. You know, it's very sort of, you know, sweet, you know, when it comes to like the dates note that you get in this one. But it also has obviously like a really buttery toffee. It has coffee in the note breakdown as well, which coffee is actually very prominent in this. So there's a lot going on in this one. You know, it's nutty. It's, you know, really, really sweet. It has, you know, that sort of coffee feel to it. But all together, I do feel like it does blend together very well, especially in the dry down. I'm not like the hugest fan of the way that the walnut note is done in this, you know, at least for like the first part of the fragrance. But, you know, as that walnut note kind of goes away, it does turn more kind of into like the coffee, you know, spices, the dates. It's just a very, very delicious, but really sexy and long lasting scent. This one, I would say it does kind of lean on the feminine side, you could say. But I absolutely think that this is still going to be a very sort of unisex scent that men that actually do like gourmand scents will definitely love and appreciate for sure. The performance on this is also very, very good. So you are going to get well over 12 hours with this one, and it is going to project pretty strongly for like 2 to 3 hours or so. So this one is definitely going to be one that will get you noticed. I would just say you're probably going to have to kind of test this one out and see how it works on your skin. I could definitely see this one maybe not working as well on certain people's skin, you know, just because of the nature of how this fragrance is. So definitely, man, check out Swiss Arabian's Shaghaf Vanilla Toffee. All right, and then the next one is another one from Swiss Arabian. This is a fragrance that I want to say kind of came out like around the same time that Shaghaf Vanilla Toffee did. And this one is Tobacco 01 from Swiss Arabian. So Tobacco 01, it does definitely start off, you know, very similar to something like Initio Side Effect. So, you know, you do kind of get that. It smells slightly kind of like a boozy sort of opening, but it's not really. It's just a really kind of sweet, I believe, plum opening that you get, like a really fruity and sweet plum. That mixed together with the other notes in the fragrances, it does kind of come across smelling like Side Effect a little bit, but not, you know, totally. Like if you smell this side by side with Side Effect, you can absolutely tell that this isn't necessarily trying to be that fragrance. It does have some sort of slight similarities to it though. After that initial opening, it is going to turn into kind of like a mixture of Dior Tobacular and Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. So, you know, all together, like some really, really, you know, appealing scent profiles, especially for this time of the year. I really feel like this is like one of the most perfect sort of, you know, winter, especially kind of Christmas and New Year's time types of, you know, scents, because it just fits this time of year. You know, it fits the clothing that most people are going to be wearing. This is definitely one that, you know, you would definitely be wearing with, you know, a heavy coat on, a scarf, a hat, you know, some boots. This is one of those types of scents. And I mean, to me, it comes off as being a slightly sort of masculine leaning type of scent. I do still think that women can, you know, definitely rock this one, but I think that men will definitely more so kind of gravitate towards it. As far as the performance goes, this one does perform like a beast as well. It is an extrait de parfum, and this is only a 50 ml bottle, so you don't really need to go that heavy with this one. It is going to project very nicely, at least for about the first 2.5 hours or so. And then longevity wise, I easily get over 12 with this one. So very, very strong scent. Not super strong to where it's like cloying or anything like that, but it is a very strong performer, very long lasting, really high quality as well. And again, this one is Tobacco 01 from Swiss Arabian. All right, and then the last one on the list, man, this is actually a fragrance that I've kind of gone back and forth with a lot. Maybe I was kind of wearing this one just in the wrong seasons. This one is Dumont's Nitro White, all right, or Nitro Pour Homme White. So this one it's kind of like a fresh sort of wintertime scent to me. Like it has this sort of fruity freshness to it, but it's also very sort of thick and heavy on, like, you know, vanilla as well. I don't know, I don't remember the exact note breakdown on this one, but the fruitiness in this, it almost kind of comes across as like maybe like the same sort of watermelon fruitiness that you get from Nitro Red. So it kind of smells like that mixed with, you know, a really sort of thick, heavy, but really, I would say really synthetic smelling, you know, vanilla scent as well. That's basically what I get with this one. And I mean, when I first got all of these Nitro scents, I believe that was probably like around the spring or so of this year. So it was definitely, you know, warm outside out here anyway. And I mean, at least when I first sprayed this one, like the first time I smelled it, I didn't really care for it. Then I wore it again. I was like, okay, this is, you know, this is decent. Wore it again after that. Wasn't really feeling it, but it seems like now that it's really gotten cold out here, this is a really, really amazing scent, man. And at least for me anyway, this is definitely best suited for the winter time. I know definitely people, they do wear this fragrance outside of the winter time, but at least for me anyway, the way that this comes across on my skin, it does smell the best during this time of the year where it's cooler. And this one, it also has very, very good performance. All of the nitro fragrances really do perform really nicely. But this one is going to give you easily over 12 hours. At least it does for me. And the projection on it just doesn't really seem to stop. Like this one projected on me for well over 4 hours. So very, very strong performer when it comes to this one. And it's very cheap as well. These nitro fragrances, if you're getting them from the perfume box, they typically cost, I believe, like around $37 to $40 or something like that. So really cheap. These are 100 ml bottles. And the sprayers on them are also pretty good as well. They do shoot out a lot of juice, man. So definitely, man, if you're looking for a fresh, you know, but yet at the same time kind of sweet and vanillic type of scent for the wintertime, I absolutely would recommend Dumont's Nitro White Pour Homme. All right. So that's the list, man. Let me know in the comments what you all thought about this list. Have you all smelled any or all of these fragrances? Do you all own any of these fragrances? Let me know in the comments. I have links in the description to where you can actually purchase all of the fragrances mentioned here. And also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see y'all in the next video.